Yeah, let's get a new fella in the gruesome Dark Souls 1 character creator. Also, this is so quiet. Hang on. This is really, really quiet. And network settings, we're gonna be uh not doing online. I just don't want to get invaded. I'm gonna say it. I don't want to have to deal with that shit. Name him Thwain the Thwomp Slanson. We might name him Thwain. I don't know. Let me see what my other characters are named, and we'll see. Yeah, we got some options. Wow, I love this thief that I just named Thief, but in Cockney, and didn't do anything with. Most of them were wearing the same hood. You can already tell what we're gonna be cooking. All right. Yeah, we'll have him with Thwain. Thwain will be the first Dark Souls adventure ever was. So class-wise, I mean, just kind of generally considered the best class to start with is probably Thief. Not for particularly unique merits, but he does have the Master Key, which frees up a gift for you. And parrying is giga fucked up in this game, and he has the buckler, but I don't know if we'll be doing that. Knight, I can't remember if it's warrior or knight who's too heavy to roll in the beginning. It's probably knight. Not really a curved sword guy. Let's see. Not a lot of options. We'll probably just I might as well do Thief, I think. It just works. Black fire bombs for the culture. Seek. Those. Base. Wayne the Thweef. Peace out. Yep, have a good night. What do we want? We're not gonna do too much to our guy here because I don't want to get like too in the weeds of character customization, especially in this game because it looks bad. Alright, we need to... Where can we change his skin color? That's what I need. That's the setting that I'm looking for. If he is to be a thwomp, he needs to be gray. And I'm not seeing that option. Looks like we can't change the color. Alright, well, he's just gonna be a bald, dubious Kareem default guy then, because I don't care too much to like really round out his features as much.
In the age of ancient.
Oh, it's been ages since I've watched this cutscene.
Shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons.
Rocks and dragons.
But then there was fire. And with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark.
Light and Dark Souls 1.
Then from the dark, they came.
Look at them.
And found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead.
That's pretty neato. He's my favorite looking one. Just design-wise, that skeleton.
The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenge the dragon.
Not beating the allegations about fantasy settings being like,
Gwyn's
long ago there used to be dragons, or oh fuck, now the dragons are back.
witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease.
Like his little, like, shamble and wiggle as he uses his ultimate move.
His own, and the dragons were no more.
Seath stacked bodies, it would be a shame if he was a loser nerd.
Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
A bad circle. Looks like an eclipse. I'm gonna try not to talk too much about the lore stuff that was introduced exclusively in the sequels, but yeah, that's where we start out. Just, here's the world, go get. Dark Souls 1.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world.
Thus, Dwayne enters the scene.
Is your fate.
I'm glad they let us keep our drip when they threw us in here. Thanks, guy. Alright. And that is the opening. Now we're free to go. There will be very little in the way of cutscenes from henceforward. So, time to get our tutorials. Camera controls with the right stick. Attack with RB. Our little sissy slaps. Do quite a lot of damage. Strong attack with RT. Unlike other games in the series, there is no charging the RT. You get what you get. So no charge heavy mix-ups, you just kind of commit to that swing. Alright, good whiff. As seen there, attacks come out in a sequence. Our first heavy is that running move, but the second one is that, which doesn't cover nearly as much distance. Let's see. Not the most complicated in terms of what we can do. our combat capability. It's just the kind of game it is. Dark Souls combat is very, very simple, but again, I don't consider that much of a negative for the game it's trying to be. You wouldn't insult Punch Out for Little Mac's moveset being underwhelming, because it's not so much about and is it? Okay, just over on the side. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a maneuver if we can pull it off. Not too hard with black fire bombs, but here, walk in. The first boss, the Asylum Demon. He can take forever to take out, or you can throw fire bombs at him a lot. Only other way to kill him is just use, like, early is to just use your punches, and bam, five black fire bombs, and we get the Demon's Great Hammer. You only get this hammer if you go for the early kill. Otherwise, you have like a whole little rigmarole to go through to get to that point. Demon's Great Hammer, absurdly heavy weapon. You need so much strength to wield this thing effectively. Also, it's so heavy that we can't even roll anymore while using it. It's quite bad early. So, you know, getting it early is a nice little benefit, but there's going to be very few characters who can, like, really take advantage of that. Target shield. So we can guard. Our shield is not much in the way of guarding. Bandit's Knife, a real weapon. Much better than a broken sword. Bandit's Knife is huge, by the way. I dodged way too early. And now the adventure begins real proper-like. So, I will say, regarding Dark Souls 1, I quite like Dark Souls 1. But there are a lot of little things about it that just kind of make it my least favorite Dark Souls 2 replay. Now, I'm starting with this one because, you know, the trilogy moves forward, you know, as it goes. On ideas and ideas and whatnot. And it would just feel, can't stagger him out of that. And it would just feel wrong to start with another one. All right, anyways, this fellow who helped us out, he's
You're no hollow. I'm done for, I'm afraid.
I skipped his dialogue, sorry.
Then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. In thine exodus from the undead asylum, maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this.
Keys.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you. Now I must bid.
Yep, just a nice fella. Let us remove this because we won't need it for a while. Yep. Bonfire replenishes your Estus and your health. Estus, notably long animation in the first game. You really have to find your moments to use it. Kind of far cry from what it will become. But I'm excited to cover this series. It'll take a little bit to get through them all, but I got a lot to say about the later ones. This first one, Man, Dark Souls is an experience learning. I know it's weird to say, but there is something that this series has captured for me that I did that way too early. There's I did it way too early again. Screw this. But yeah, captured for me that I think that other games just in general fail to. And that is the feeling of community and discovery. This game is intentionally vague. A lot of games aren't nearly as vague as it. And that is a great weakness and great strength. Sometimes you just won't know how things work all the way. But it is quite fun. And it is nice when the community has to come together and piece all the little things and you learn new stuff. And then the fun thing, people lie to each other. Isn't that novel? It's like being at the playground all over again. With like all the rumors and nonsense that gets thrown around. I don't know, it's an experience that you don't see too much these days. A lot of games are kind of solved. Or they're just so open with what they are and how they work. I don't know, it harkens back to the games where they're just like, buy the fucking guide, dipshit. Also, you can hear something stomping and tromping about. That will not be relevant until we return to this area later. But hey, that is something. There is indeed an absolute unit present. Good luck. I thought I said to start an offline, so why are there... And maybe the messages are like...
In the ancient legends, it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen.
It's a good shot. Yeah. Pipe bird shot.
Leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords.
Yeah, I'm gonna avoid a lot of lore stuff and just kind of work it piecemeal while we're going through it, because I don't want to like immediately overload the conversation with that. Hey, mostly just gonna be talking about the game, the gameplay. DS1 is stiff. I will say that's the thing that I least like about DS1. As the games go on, they get less stiff, more loose. Some people don't like that. Which, hey, we can level up at these. I have no idea what kind of build we're going for, so we're just gonna raise the old health and endurance. Actually, there is probably one weapon that we can make an exception for. Yeah, Firelink Shrine and its iconic Firelink Shrine music. Entity. Also, I'm gonna do this for some things, not everything, but you know, you might as well read the description of weapons. The hilt of a lost sword is found discarded in the undead asylum, only slightly better than one's bare hands and not recommended for extensive use. Be certain to find a replacement quickly. The short sword is the favorite of lowly thieves and bandits. It's primarily a slicing weapon, but highly effective when used for critical hits, such as after parrying or from behind. Demon weapon built from the stone arc trees used by lesser demons at North Undead Asylum. The hammer is imbued with no special power, but can merrily beat foes to a pulp, providing you have the strength to wield it. Small shields are less stable, but landing critical hits after parrying is easier. The shield is specialized for parrying. Okay, so the way it worded that is misleading. It should say parrying strikes is easier. You have more frames of parrying. Here's a lady in a cage. We can reinforce our Estus, but that's something else that we can't do yet.
Well, what do we have here?
No mouth movement.
Must be a new
This is why people wear helmets in future.
guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are actually 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land, the undead?
And thus starts a series-long tradition of the FromSoft laugh. It's funny when you notice it, but so many NPCs in this game will deliver information to you and then follow it up with a mirthful chuckle. Anyways, first thing I recommend any new player do is come down this way. Not to go through this area, but heavens forbid that. Do not explore this area for a long time. There is something found quite early on at the entrance that might be of use to you. The soul of a nameless soldier, though I suppose that could be useful. Not a pinata, but hey, 10 souls is 10 souls. 24, even better. That was a really good sound effect. I suppose I should explain this lounging merry asshole. Anyways, I will explain this. So, locking on is a mechanic in this game. You will not see me use it too much because for some reason your movement becomes like really rigid. It becomes 8-way. And it just doesn't feel great. So it's better to just... And most enemies aren't hopping around so much that you need to lock onto them. It's best to just keep your movement free and not lock on.
This is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't pry. I'm Rickett of Vinai. I was once an established smith. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
Not the bloodstain type of guy.
It's safe here. No thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, not much to watch.
Very quiet.
I'll show you what made me.
Yeah. He can improve weapons, but we don't have the tools to get that going yet. He can also repair equipment, which is... I'm honestly glad that they phased out repairing from the series, because repairing either matters a whole lot in like 1 or 2 areas, or basically doesn't matter at all. As you swing at enemies, you damage your weapon. Swing too much, it can break. If it breaks, you need to repair it at a smith. But if it's just damaged, every time you rest at a bonfire, your weapon will make a full recovery. So... it very rarely matters. And I believe this is what I was looking for. The S-Stock, one of the best weapons, just in the series even. We'll just 1 more strength than we have, so we'll fix that next time we level up. But yeah, so we can two-hand it. When you two-hand something, your attack is calculated at 1.5 times. We're not fast rolling anymore, but what if we take out the shield? Yeah, there we go. The shield we can't use because we're two-handing. So, the S-Stock, in addition to just being really long, it has a unique little feature to it. That is this... I'm gonna get in a less claustrophobic area to showcase this. So, we have our standard thrust, and we also have... Oh, I guess it's only when you one-hand it. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, yep. That's how you swing a sword when you don't have any stats, and we don't have enough souls to, like, level. So we'll show it. Basically, a lot of thrusting swords in the series are harmed by their absolute inability to do anything but do thrusting attacks, meaning their coverage is very narrow. There's enemies you can fight who you would benefit much more from being able to sweep your sword. But not so. Oh, let's start with this guy.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thurland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance if possible. Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance, but I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you. Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you? Very well.
Well...
Now let me share my miracle. Only their ultimate effectiveness...
Covenants really only matter for online stuff, primarily, and some quests, but you don't ever have to do anything. Alright, so he will sell you miracles at such exorbitant prices that you should never use them. He's a terrible teacher for these.
The effectiveness...
I'll kind of get into what different builds can do. This game, I just prefer to do it pretty vanilla. I like my hitting dudes with weapons. Not a complex individual when it comes to how I throw down in Souls 1. Really the first 3 Souls games in general. Just, I find that the simplest option is often the best, and that's just, you know, slapping dudes up. But so we're here, and technically we have 3 areas we can progress to, though one is more important than the others right now. We can go down there to the area I said we shouldn't explore. We can go over the cemetery, which is another area we shouldn't explore. And if you try and head like too deep into it, you'll learn why rather quickly. There we go. There is some stuff for you to pick up over here, but you will likely die in its acquisition. Let's go ahead and do that. You see, for there are many skeletons, and we are not particularly strong right now. And the thing about skeletons is they're weak to strike damage, which we don't have a good source of, for one. But for 2, as they are skeletons, they can reanimate after you bash them apart. But, yeah, as you can see, there are some weapons. I believe there's a Morning Star over here, but I didn't seem to have found it. I don't recall how far they follow you after you've invoked their ire. Let's see here. Yeah, those weapons that we got, we have really big sword, kind of an iconic weapon of this game, really. One of the gigantic straight great swords, as the name implies, so I can just have 2 hands with the wielder must be inhumanly strong. It's a great way to send this pulls flying when hit solidly. You need 24 strength or 16 to 2-hand it. It's quite hard. Very good. Wing Spear. Kind of same boat as our stock. We'd need to two-hand it, but it is a good dex scaling weapon. It's very long, as you can see. I am not a spear guy, but I will make an exception to mess with this one while. I might just go for like a quality build, which is to say strength and dex in equal measure. It is a build that some weapons favor. I mean, I suppose it's pretty obvious information, but every weapon has a scaling with stats. Again, we'll do this. So this has a E in strength and a C in dex. Every other weapon has their own scalings that determines the weapon's effectiveness. Early on, the scalings don't matter too much because we don't have much of a stat for it to scale in, you know? Kind of stands to reason. You need a lot of stat before that matters. The general advice I'd give to anyone starting Dark Souls games is to focus primarily on getting your stats to wield the weapon you want, and then focus on your kind of boring background stats, like your equipment load, or your health, your stamina. Because it takes a while before scalings really matter. Trying to think of other things. So one thing that I will praise this game that the rest of the games don't do, it is very open. There are like a few different directions you could go in if you've got the stones for it. However, the game is designed with a progression, at least roughly. And later games you'll be fast traveling around a lot, but this game really likes you hoofing it and unlocking shortcuts to hoof it places more efficiently. Some other things I will compliment, very dull things, for the aesthetics of Dark Souls 1. I like these health and stamina bars. The series gets a little bit more standard looking with them, but I like the tick marks on them. I don't know, it makes them seem almost like alchemical. I mean, they remind me of a thermometer, but that's neither here nor there. And the tick marks can actually make like some helpful deviations. Granted, you won't immediately know how much is in it between the major like segments, but it is neat. It provides a better visual reference for how much you have in the way of stats. So I think that's nice. I tend to just go by how big bar is dragon. Short sword. Alright, that's pretty solid. Not amazing, but solid. I was not expecting that lunge. Other thing we have to look forward to for the whole game is the male undead voice sounding like he's busting every time he gets hit. Alright, let's level ourselves up. Grab a point of strength so we can one-hand the S-stock. That for a bit. I'll probably go back to the spear though, because we may grow sick of this, but I did use it there. I'll showcase it again in this game. Wait. Yep, those sweeping R2s are just, they're heaven sent. It's just nice to have an attack that you can rely on that's like, yeah, Screw trying to aim precisely and poke them. This... Alright, we can't do that with the thing. Our kick attack is explicitly for shielded enemies. It knocks the shield aside, so you can then, you know, do your work. No. S-stocks, also all thrusting swords and curved swords do not do that though. They have a unique feint attack. This attack is okay. It's fast, it gets distance, can be useful for spacing. I actually like it. But the inability to kick does mean that people with shields just kind of sleep on you. Now, let me... So I like the feint attack, it's just the way its input isn't the best for what it where it is, what it does. Huh. The backstep is this janky little thing. It's... The main use it has is for spacing, but it can let you do a running attack immediately afterwards, which is kind of neat. So you can create very small space and then use, like, do a burst of movement at someone. I will not be using this technique much at all. It's good for lagless PvP, but let me tell you one thing about this game. PvP is never lagless, unless you are, like, local LAN partying it up. You're not doing that. Try right. It's just the same thing. Yeah, we've been there before. That's nothing. There we go. Oh, right from there. Okay, that crossbow's actually a useful pickup. Crossbows, ranged attacks, ranged combat. Ranged combat in Dark Souls 1, every Souls game. Kind of unforbiddable. I mean, it has its uses, but it's very boring. Crossbows allow you to deal damage that does not care about your stats at all. The problem is they're so weak. The benefit of the crossbow is that it can be wielded one-handed. Wooden shield, decent magic deflect. It's a big shield, nothing too really there, but the benefit of the crossbow is it can be wielded one-handed, which, you know, that's something. And again, you just need the stats to hold it. But the damage is rather mediocre, even at the best of times. Yeah, that heavy attack sucks, but hey, it does a lot of damage. I mean, it sucks in terms of the animation. There's a lot of unactionable frames before he does the pullback. How did we get behind him? I don't know. The issue I have with the kick, I'm fine with the kick existing in Souls games, but the problem is you get into moments where you're just trying to hit this on people, and you'll kind of like accidentally kick while trying to move forward. I'm having a terrible time doing it though, like, because you hold forward as you want to move towards the enemy while you swing at them so they don't fall out of your range. But if you do that too imprecisely, you might accidentally do the kick and get yourself whooped. Anyways, this guy.
Well now, you seem to have your wits about you. Then you are a welcome customer.
I love his goober voice.
Everything's for sale.
If he does a Dark Souls laugh. Yep, so he'll sell you different stuff. He can sell you the ability to write messages, which we won't be doing. Firebombs, which are pretty useful. the residence key, which I don't know if we need this or if we can completely supersede it with our master key that we have for being a thief, but we'll get it just in case. Some decent armor that the crestfallen guy in the beginning is wearing. Projectiles for your projectile weapon. We'll buy these because they're quite inexpensive. Just a nice 100. They're gonna do. Those are wooden arrows. I meant to buy wooden bolts. They're not nearly as inexpensive for some reason, even despite doing very, very little. Whatever. Okay. The other thing he sells is he's got basically every, like, most of the basic weapon types, like very, very basic. You got a dagger if you want to use a dagger, a short sword if you want to use a short sword, scimitar if you want to use a curved sword, rapier if you want to use a thrusting sword, hand axe for an axe, 2 types of hammers, specifically clubs, a spear, a bow, and then some shields. Now, the heater shield is 100% physical damage negation, so if you want to...
What a waste of go and fall off a cliff.
I'm glad that I bought something from him, but because I opened it and closed it, he's pissy. Yeah, so he's a useful little merchant. If you kill him early on, you lose access to his wares, but you do gain access to... You lose access to his wares, but you gain access to the Uchi Katana, the earliest you can get a katana. If you don't kill him, you're gonna be waiting for one, but like... I don't know. If you know that you're not gonna need anything from him, it's one thing, but I don't really consider the katana a weapon worth killing a man over. But that's just me. I'm gonna go back to the spear for a while, because I'm thinking I was getting good mileage out of it. The main thing that I find people struggle with this game is that sometimes not every build is fit for every circumstance. Now, I have some issue with this design philosophy, and I'll talk about it, but especially in the beginning, when your weapons aren't upgraded, like, switch up tactics. Sometimes what you're using isn't the best thing in the situation. And that's fine. Enemies have weaknesses to damage types. They have movesets that might favor one thing or another. Why am I using the spear here? Because I want to leverage its long reach against these enemies. Ouch. It's just that simple. Just use the tools the game provides you, because they provided them to you for a reason. I will talk about NPC summons, though, and just summoning in general, because I think that's a bit of a hot button issue. For certain boss fights in the game, you can call upon allies. My take on this is if someone does that the entire game, sure, go on, like, good on them, whatever, who cares. A lot of people get pissy about it because they think that the 1v1 me scrub is like the only way the game is intended to be played. Oh my lord. That's the other thing. You can move in 8 directions, but you can only dodge roll in 4 while locking onto people, which is terrible, for the record. Let's see, other Estus things. This game, unlike other games, you reinforce Estus to increase how, like, reinforce bonfires to increase how much you get when you rest. They default to 5, the one in Firelink is 10 because the Firekeeper is there, like, under it. So every time we rest at that other bonfire, we're not going to get back the flask that I used. But that's fine. Isn't really an area that strictly needs 10 flasks. Alright, this enemy. A bit of a threat. I'm going to use the knife and the target shield. Best way to fight these guys is parrying their more obvious attacks. Ouch. Or you can do what I do and get slapped across the back because you didn't think his spin would go that long. Yeah. Most threatening thing in the first area. I did that too. Commit to a swing, why don't you? Drink. This. I did it wrong again. Might as well get a swing in. But he did expose his back to us. And the daggers have increased. There we are. Daggers have increased crit, so that makes them useful. Notably, this is a game of inches. You can still fail doing this. I'm trying to chain backstab him. There we go. Yep, we're no honor. Ouch. Let's run up the stairs so he has to walk it. Wow, he really showed me who's boss by doing that. Okay. These guys are the only guys that I consider like heavily threatening in the area that aren't bosses. Carrying is really easy in the first game. It's way janker the later you go. And we got a chunk and nothing else. Chunks a guaranteed drop. I believe we won't need those for a while. The main reason you want to fight those guys is they have a chance of dropping their weapons. Which, ouch. Which are very, very strong. Any Black Knight weapon you can get your hands on is going to be... They do not respawn though, so you cannot farm them, so... some people do a little ritual that if enemy is so kind... We're not going to go down there yet, but know that that is a shortcut opened up to us via the Master Key. Some people do a little ritual where if they are blessed by the Black Knight drop, that's just the weapon they'll use because they're very good weapons. I have not been so fortunate. Alright, another fog wall. And before we continue, we should go up there. There's some crossbow dudes. It would behoove us to take them out. No way to slide down ladders unlike later games in the series, so we kind of have to just cope with that slow speed. Alright. First boss was a bit of a joke. Here's a real boss. Ouch. I immediately messed that up by whiffing my attack and him hitting his. Alright, this boss, I think, is fine, except for one thing he has a habit of doing, which is sometimes when you dodge his attack, the debris, like just shockwave hitbox will fuck you up, and I find that really annoying. Anyways, you want... Ouch. Yep. What you should do immediately is run up here and then jump down to do a plunging attack on him, which will take off a big chunk of his health. Wait too long, he will jump up there though, so don't dawdle. That's why I didn't use the opportunity to heal, because I don't know how long it is. Yep. This boss encourages you to consider the environment out as you engage an enemy. These narrow hallways really prefer him and his wide swings. But at the same time, you could also get your weapon caught up on the corners of things. That's the attack that I really dislike him using, but hey. Yeah, there we go. There's a nice shockwave moment. And I didn't dodge that. Pressed B too late. Yep, and I died to the shockwave. Oh, that's a good example of that. Yeah, the Taurus Demon is not an overly difficult fight, but carelessness leads to lifelessness. Yep, so now we're 5 flasks out. So now it's time to show you the true way of the Dark Soul. Running past every enemy. The thing is, this might not always have as high a success rate as stopping to fight each individual foe would give you in terms of safely traversing the area. But it's just faster. Stopping to fight every enemy every time you have to go do a boss run is something that kind of a new player folly. It just takes too long for what it is. So sometimes running through areas is just the best way to prevent yourself from wasting a lot of time. I accidentally did a jumping attack. Okay, jumping attacks, use them by forward and heavy. They are largely garbage. I mean, you can use them for spacing, but they're all so slow. Like, they have the same thing as doing, like, a burst movement, but I would probably rather do, like, that than this. I mean, they're both pretty awful, but hey, at least the backstep means that there's, like, an element of it that's defensive. Alright, let's go for the plunging attack immediately. You can also whip out the black fire bombs for this if you really wanted to, or you could use the pine resin you found, because, you know, if you got it, you might as well use it. That's the worst thing that can happen. You got stuck under him. Good old debris hitbox. Good old debris hitbox. Way too early, but it doesn't matter because that's like a hitbox that's actually generous for the player for once. Oh, hit an enemy enough sometimes and they will stagger. I'm not quite sure on the exact science behind that. Just hit them a bunch. Sometimes it'll happen, and it's nice. Having intimate knowledge of when it's happened could let you go even more aggro, because, like, I stopped my assault because I didn't know that he was going to do it. But this time, I'm much more prepared for him to give up. See, there you go. A much more efficient run of that fight. Vanity and a homeward bone. Homeward bones are pretty useful. They let you travel back to bonfires. Useful for cutting down on some backtracking. Yeah, that is the boss that I consider the first true boss of the game, because the Asylum Demon is a glorified tutorial. Either you cheese it with fire bombs, or you just fight it normally, in which case it has, like, no health because you get a plunging attack off it. Alright, this guy, very infamous NPC.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Soler of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
A jolly FromSoft laugh.
Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment.
Yes.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey? This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old.
I've heard that allegedly that line is a bit of a mistranslation. It's not the flow of time is convoluted, it's that it's stagnant. But I don't know how much that really matters.
Spirits and engage. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature E. If you miss it, you must be blind. Oh, hello. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so
grossly incandescent, he says. Very, very iconic NPC. I think he really imparted upon players. I think just being a friendly guy in a very hostile game really gave him maximum appeal. Ouch. Yeah. Now we can get a little bit of a shortcut going for ourselves. And we're gonna do the thing with the dragon, because of course we are. I found that funny crossbow, might as well use it. Let's see. What are we leveling up? I think we just keep going with the old... I think we just keep going health and endurance. We're doing a decent enough amount of damage. And we're just not certain what kind of weapon we're gonna settle on. I think quality's probably best. I might also level up my equipment in case I want to show off larger shields at some point. Shields that exist to be more than just a tool to parry with. Stab. Let's go.
To splurge when your days are numbered.
Let's see. Bottomless box is pretty useful. We might get that. I might as well pick up some of these weapons as well, though. Might as well, you know. Buy the club, the scimitar, and the axe to show them off, because those are the weapon types we don't have. And I'll whip them out, use them against a basic enemy, so you can see. The club has a very, very simple moveset. I'm not a fan of it. All of the heavy attacks are jumping heavy attacks. The club is what I'd consider a kind of a key weapon. You don't use this thing because you're in love with it. You use this thing because strike damage is a pretty good damage type, and this is a very easy way to get it. And next up we have the hand axe. Hand axe has a somewhat Like, it's a pretty good sweep. Same thing with the heavy. But if you two-hand it, you gain a very, very sluggish heavy chop. But you also gain just kind of decent swings. Hand axe is a solid weapon. Does regular damage. It says one wrong swing leaves the wielder wide open. I'm gonna there's no like recovery difference if you hit someone with your heavy. I'm not like, actually it might be the case. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. Let's see. I kind of dodge rolled there. Okay, that was a bad example. Yeah, let's do a heavy, hit him with it, and then dodge. It's a little faster, actually. You know what? That's not entirely incorrect. It seems like that is true to some extent. Missing a heavy means you can act slower. I always thought that was strange. Anyway, scimitar. We have this sick backflip, which I consider way worse than the rapier one. Yeah, that's our kick attack. Otherwise, we have a very simple 2-string of attacks. And this double hitting heavy, which in my opinion, just kind of less useful than a normal heavy. You can't tell the scimitar is kind of useful for its, the momentum you carry while you swing it. Curved swords are not a bad weapon type by any stretch of the imagination. Whoa, he like warped over. Not a bad weapon by any stretch of the imagination. Very simple, but good. I just don't like the heavy attacks on him that much. My problem is it's not like the first hit has like any unique quality that holds the enemy, so you can just do a thing where you hit the first part and then the second whiffs entirely. And as you see, the heavy attack really only works if both parts hit. Curiously, I guess you can't do it in the main hand. Some weapons can parry in the offhand. See here, the rapier has its own unique little parry animation. Dual wielding does suck though, because on the weapons, on weapons that don't parry, you guard with them, and that's just kind of whatever. Dual wielding is very, very niche in basically every game. Except for 2, I'll give 2 credit. We'll go over this. Like, let's say this was a normal rapier and it didn't have any sweeping attacks. This might have been the situation I want to dual wield, because then I can use this chop to supplement my moveset, and I have this useful parry. The flexing on him parry that just looks so extra. There's a really good example of the chop to show it off. I have a goal for this first stream that we're gonna, like, a certain area to get to, but we'll see if that becomes reality. I might experiment with dual wielding, but again, it's just not as useful as it could be, and like we're gonna definitely be doing it in Dark Souls 2. Yeah. Yeah. And just showing off some of the there's some hypothetically cool things you can do, like what if you wanted to do like all 3 types of physical damage, which, yeah, so there's one with slash. Yeah, like, what do you want to do? I guess you can do all 3. without a very specific weapon, but your S-Stock does regular and thrust, so we could pair it with the scimitar to add slash, or we could pair it with the club to add a nice source of strike damage into the mix. Again, there are theoretical uses for it, it's just not all that amazing. I think we're gonna keep proceeding as kind of more intended. But yeah, sorry, dude, I got so like tongue-tied there. I go back down, it's probably faster. Go to the shortcut we unlocked, then do all this. So it's just kind of fighting enemies to show off different things. So weapon types I like. I think they matter the least in this game because every weapon's kind of slow and sucks. We haven't found my least favorite weapon type in the series. It's gonna be somewhat blasphemous to some of you when I show it off, like show off what it is, because there are some people who I know are particularly attached to that, but there's some people who are attached to like every weapon category. I think the S-Stocks just like rapiers in general aren't my favorite, but the S-Stock fixes their biggest issue, which is the reliance on nothing but thrusting attacks. Having that sweep just makes the moveset so much better. Alright. So that dragon's gonna be parked up there, which is gonna make going directly ahead kind of annoying, so instead... I say I was somewhat surprised I didn't kill him. Important thing to note, the way you... the way you angle your camera does actually affect the direction your weapon attacks in, so if you're swinging at rats on the floor, make sure to angle the camera down. Yeah. Little rat room, might as well heal. Undead perish. Undead perish. Okay, its durability still hold. It's like... to point out, we're not doing fantastic damage right now. Okay, it's just because the two-handed damage that we're getting is like way better. So might as well hold it in two hands forever then. Let's see. I kind of want to get to the next major boss, take it out, and then pull it. At least just have a nice sense of progress. Then we'll get back into things. Ouch, ouch. Next up, that enemy down there, rather annoying to fight. Don't want to fight it. Instead, throw a skull into the fire. That wasn't exact science. Try that. Alright, asshole. Now this gives us a chance to engage in fantastic ranged combat with our light crossbow. Or not. Tracked me pretty well there. There was what blood loss does. Large percentage of the enemy health all at once. Can be useful, mostly not amazing. Alright. Switch with the right trigger. Do that. Here is the wonders of ranged combat. Do not shoot the boar. There you go. Not amazing, didn't time that, didn't really think to care, but yep, that's what shooting the crossbow is like. Next time with this alluring skull for real this time. Yeah. Come on. There you go. Yeah, the alluring skull should make it try to go into the fire, which will then kill it, because that's so much... Why are you being difficult? Normally this is just like a clean, it stands in the fire the whole time, it dies. Question. Put it in there. Yeah, this enemy is somewhat difficult to take out otherwise because of its armored form. If it's just gonna stand there, it should be kind of sitting duck for that. I don't really want to use a black firebomb, so you know what that means. Please. I'm fighting an enemy in an incredibly engaging combat. There we go. Don't worry, there will be one of those that you are mandated to fight in normally. So, don't think we get off scot-free on that encounter just because we've taken out this one a little. Go back to the spear, I think. One doing a healthy chunk of... And I don't remember where the fuck that is. Don't want to go up the spiral staircase. It's actually a bad idea. There's a Black Knight up there, and I would rather be fully prepared to in fisticuffs with him. Not. Alright, I think we have to go down before we can open up the door and make it easier to traverse. Light, that's a shame. Maybe if we increased our stats at all. Yeah, the main thing I can recommend is just like, especially when you're in places you don't know, being particularly observant of your surroundings. Never leap before you look, so to speak. These two guys here, too bad, but I say that they could be arranged a superior way, but so got it. This one, there's a bit where there's a lot of these just gank you all at once. Fog Gate, I guess it's important to mention. Not all fog gates are boss doors. We're not going to be suddenly beset upon every time you go through these. Times like this, it's just a new area. There are some tough enemies ahead, though. Wary of that might prevent. These are Balder Knights. Okay, that was supposed to be a kick. Yeah, he was shielding that attack. I believe you. Okay. Yeah, I consider the Balder Knights a far greater threat than the Black Knights. Because the Black Knights are at least predictable. Like, very, very predictable. Parry fodder. Balder Knights are so annoying. They're nimble, their fucking buckler blocks like it... blocks like it was not a buckler. Maybe it's a moment to switch up my tactics. If I can't do that, maybe I muscle through him with the old club. Okay, motherfucker. Yeah, you just hug that wall, you pussy. God. Alright, get out of here. Cool thing about clubs, and all hammers really, is that they crush guards incredibly well. Face, make sure. Yeah, okay. This is why I don't like jumping attacks, because during our slow-ass move was interrupted by his just tackle. Ugh, this is annoying. Yeah, I'm not in love with Dark Souls 1 as much as other people. I think it's like as a phenomenon, as a cultural thing. Fantastic. As a entry in the Souls series of video games, it's the one that I go back to the least, easily. For while I appreciate a lot of the design, it's just the core gameplay just isn't as fun feeling. Bit of a shame that, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Amazed that wasn't a crit. Stab, but... Also, I don't know why, but in future, whenever you break guard, if you smash someone's guard, and then attack them, like, head on, that's normally a crit, but in this game doesn't seem to be wanting to give me that. Dang. I thought he was gonna enter his rest period, but nope, he swung at me. If we don't get to the next major boss in like a few attempts, I am going to stop, just because I've been streaming a fucking while, and I don't want to ever just get into a loop of where I'm just kind of dying in an area and repeating, which this is the game I'm most worried about progress stalling to a halt because of an annoying encounter. Ouch. There's some areas to traverse that I just don't like. This is a game that I think has relatively easy boss fights, but some like pretty fair boss fights, but some of the area designs are just tedious to go through. Maybe we just ignore him for now, if we can get to a better spot. Yeah, one thing I do like about the Dark Souls series in general is just getting a bit of a different gameplay feel just from as like the simple change up of weapons. Because we're doing things far differently than we were when we had Nestock. You see, that Baldur Knight crumpled to the might of getting ass blasted by my club. Club good. Oh good, you've found your way here. I believe that stance indicates that he's trying to parry you, but you can't parry jumping attacks. So what do you know? Club wins. Club good. What a monumental discovery. What a... It is world changing. I will say the club is kind of... I mean, I respect the club for being useful. I will say, it is kind of a bit of a meme, I suppose, to say. Just because it's a... What do you mean, secret? Club is just... Like, it's silly, you know, all the weapons in the world, and you're using a hunk of wood, crudely shaped, bunga and all that. To this day, I'm surprised they've never made a quarterstaff weapon, by the by. It's really weird to me, because you think it'd be such a natural inclusion, you know? Quarterstaves have existed for a long time, but the series has never had one, even to this day. Haven't even taken the lazy way out and made it a twin blade or a pole arm that's just blunt. This guy. This guy will be our main smith because he is the best smith for modifying weapons. For modifying weapons on the simple path. We've got but one shard. Okay, alright. How will it improve the S stock, anyways? Gaining 7 base damage, 2 scaling. How much for the math is killing me right now. 8 damage, 3 scaling. I mean, Stuck's probably gonna do us well. I might, no, I don't want to do that. I might do some off-screen stuff for this game. Mostly when it comes to Titanite shards, like farming for Titanite and getting things. You don't need to. Actually, except for maybe the repair box. Yeah, that one might be useful. Oh yeah, he's also got another set of weapons for you. A great sword, a long sword, which I think is short sword, but it's like broadsword is no thrust attacks, makes it kind of in this game. Really long spear. And some additional shields.
Don't get yourself killed, Knight.
Yeah. Very friendly guy, just keeps smithing away. These are newly upgraded. S-stock. And let's go through and repair all of our garbage. I forgot about this part. You know, I misremembered it as being automatic, because that's how it works in the other games. You sit at a bonfire and everything gets fixed. I don't know if weapon damage goes down as it degrades, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll keep this shield on just in case. shield on. The Pokemon? No, was like in the club gameplay though. It's very nice for all these shielded dudes. Otherwise, they're kind of annoying to deal with a mirror. Here we get a unique enemy. This one time there. Not too tough of one though. His mighty strength belies the fact that he's slow as shit and his moveset's not particularly threatening. And he barely covers himself with the shield that could maybe force you to this fight in a way that isn't just being an annoying little gnat constantly whooping him. Yeah, the Balder Knights are right. Oh, let's talk about this. Balder Knights have, I keep saying Balder Knights have a weapon that is somewhat infamous because it is a very fantastic strength weapon. It's also kind of a rare pickup. Not strength, dex, very strong dex weapon. It's got a solid moveset. It's just a very, very good sword. Of course, to give you a bit of a reminder of the era that the first Dark Souls came out in, here on the streets, that weapon is known as the Balder Knight Swag Sword, not the Balder Knight Side Sword. Because this was a point where swag was still like a word that people were using. Very harrowing indeed. But yeah, we've got a new shortcut, which allows us to rest at our good bonfire. And we can give her this Firekeeper soul, which we should probably read, because it's not just a weapon, this is like a thing of some use. Soul of the Long Lost Firekeeper. Each Firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of her bonfire, and a draw for the humanity which is offered to her. Soul is gnawed by infinite humanity and can boost the power of precious Estus Flask. It can be used to gain humanity and restore HP at the cost of losing the Firekeeper soul to reduce Estus Flask. Yeah, never use this to heal. Make your flasks better. That's just common logic. Like,
Your face. You're practically hollow. I don't know. Going hollow could solve quite a bit.
hollowing is an interesting thing. It is both an in-universe tool, but also kind of a, to use a big word, kind of a meta-narrative thing. Dang, we still can't fast roll using the S-Dock? And our equipment is so light, too. Guess we could wear it. Or we couldn't. No, it's not worth it. But, going hollow in the first game is something that can happen to NPCs, but as for the player, going hollow represents giving up on the game, letting the game beat you and never coming back to it. That is what it is to become hollow. Because as long as you don't give up, you still have that fighting spirit. That's why the chosen undead can come back no matter how many times he's put down, because we're coming back, because we don't give up. That's what allows us to stave off the process, is because despite the suffering, we still believe in the goal. I think that's pretty cool. That's really interesting and well done. Oh, goody. I already buffered a roll, so I rolled into him. Right. Let us apply the stick to this guy. Yeah, This is why using stronger attacks with more like stagger can be useful. It's good to have a varied arsenal. Again, know what situation will arise. I will blame the game for this. So you saw how expensive Titanite was. Titanite is our main method of upgrading. Chandlers are funny guys who do dances that buff their allies. Clearly not enough though. I don't like this encounter design though. This is kind of silly. We weren't really... Oh, he kind of probably failed. But yeah, look how much damage that did. That's the Chandler at work, baby. Yeah, Titanite shards are expensive. Going to forge things is kind of annoying. Oh, he just levitated over there. Yeah, Chandlers are kind of iconic for looking funny, doing a silly dance, and I mean, it's that lined eye and nose helmet that's really doing it for him. Whoa. I was gonna say how I lost my train of thought. But yeah, Titanite is very expensive. Upgrading weapons kind of annoying. Grinding for Titanite, grinding for the souls to buy Titanite, all of this is very time consuming. And that's what you have to do in order to get a compelling amount of like upgraded weapons. And I think that's kind of the biggest shame of the system. The game wants you to adjust your tactics for the encounters, you know. Use a weapon that's effective. Use, like, either because of its moveset affording you opportunities that slower ones don't, or because the damage type is better, or because the stagger is more useful. All of these reasons to use other weapons, and the game doesn't really make that easy. Early on, switching weapons is easy, but as you go on, not so. Anyways, try key. Well, I have a mysterious key.
Human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me? As you can see, I am stuck without recourse.
Okay.
Please. Well?
Oh.
Thank you. Yes. Sincerely. I am Knight Lautrec of Karim. I truly appreciate this. And I guarantee a reward. Only later. Yes, very sorry. I've just been freed.
Yep. So, it's just some guy in prison that we let out. But given we were just some guy in prison who got let out, you know, might as well pay it forward, you know? You know. Lautrec not nearly as iconic as Solaire, but funnily enough, they are summonable for many of the same boss fights. And by many, I think the exact number is 2, perhaps 3. They're an interesting bunch. We'll go over more of them as their quests progress, though. Right now, the only thing we need to know is that Lautrec is somewhat mysterious, but he will help us, and Solaire is super friendly and will help us. Anyways, time to climb up here and engage in a little bit of fisticuffs with the next boss. Oh, we get a cutscene too? Oh, we're spoiled. This fight, this one could be tough. It's a little annoying, I'll say. It also introduces us to a new mechanic in a boss fight. Welcome to the lovely world. Tail cuts. Certain enemies will have tails that are weapons, and if you can hit them repeatedly in a vaguish spot on their back, you can cut off the tail, giving you the cool weapon. That's the only move I think that they have that can go fuck themselves. Oh good, I missed entirely. Oh good, that swing has so much follow through that it clipped me. Ah! I started running, I didn't... Oh my lord. Alright, he's making an ass of me. He's really... I don't remember them being this fucking aggro either, though. Alright, we need to one-hand it for the sweep. Oh good, he keeps backing up repeatedly to put his tail out. So the thing is, tail cuts I think are, like, thematically, conceptually, kind of cool. Mechanically, this is ass. I hate doing this. There are many boss fights where it's worse. Like, you have to deliberately sandbag the... Oh, you bastard. You have to sandbag the way you fight the boss, because I can't kill him yet. I need his fucking tail. Because it's a unique weapon that I can only get once this run. It's quite annoying. Will I be getting every tail in the game? Probably not. There's some that are just... Now, some of them require you to do some very specific bullshit to get... I just turned myself around. Also, another thing I do not like about Dark Souls 1 that has reared its ugly head twice. Running into a dodge. You can't do it because the way you jump in this game... Hey, we got him. Gargoyle Tail Axe. The way you jump in this game is by running into a... just like hitting the dodge button while you're already running, which is, you know, whatever. A little awkward, but fine. Thing is, that means that you... Like, if you want to wrap... Why did he just swing like that 3 times? Whatever, we have the tails to next fight. We can, like, not fucking hold back and just get him. I do not feel... Well, I feel strongly, but I'm not a fan of that mechanic and what it does to the boss fights that have it. It just becomes an annoying tax. Granted, if you're okay with missing the weapon, it's fine, but hey. Gargoyle Tail Axe. We can use it with 14 strength. It is bizarrely balanced. And we can fast roll with it? Amazing. Doing more than the fucking stock? Is. Wow. Okay. Bends dramatically during large attacks, owing to its nature. Yeah, it does bend. Yeah, we're gonna kill him with his own tail because I'm pissed. Or we're going to get whooped by this guy. Yeah, how did that guard exactly? Whatever, man. Whatever. Their shields are a mystery. I believe that in an early patch for the game, they increased the amount of Titanite shards that drop from early game enemies as a way to help you out. But I'm not certain. I believe that might have been also a change made in Elden Ring, though, so I might be conflating the two. But I was pretty sure that was said to be something. Okay, they're all caught on each other, it seems. Damage does seem decent. Ah, that's a shame. Every game they give an enemy that attack, and every game it will clip the shit out of you at least once. Let us throw on a bit of an equip. Well, I think we can use this. Yeah, might as well. Might as well up our chances, you know, show the gargoyles we're not fucking around. But yeah, I didn't even mention it. I looked at it, but I didn't say it. Yeah, when you weaken one of the gargoyles sufficiently, a second one joins the fray. This is probably why it's one of the first bosses that lets you summon for it, because having Lautrec or Solaire's assistance in this fight. Alright, that was a little dickheaded of you. Hey, you like that, asshole? Get a drink real bad. Oh, good, and they both hit me at the same time. Okay, they're really laying into me. I need to reposition. That was almost really fucking bad. Okay. Yeah, it's for stuff like this that you'd want a nice ranged weapon, so we could... I don't recall that, like, working that way. Okay, whatever. Just get some distance, do that. This fight is being so sloppy. Oh my lord. Oh goody, goody, it fucking whiffed, so now we have to continue to juggle two of them for longer. Okay, yep. This fight is not my favorite, not my favorite. I mean, normally it's not this annoying. I don't know what I did this time to have, like, bad karma. Also, wow, the lightning was doing so much of the damage. For a second, I thought the axe itself was just cracked. But with some complaining, with some annoyance, we have managed it, and we get a weapon and a helm. I don't know if those are always dropped, though. But hey, we have a halberd, which means I'm too weak. Weak to show that why I do not like halberds. But we did get a lot of souls, so we should be able to fix that eventually. And given, like, the nature of our build, we're only going to be increasing... We're just going to be increasing the 4 physical stats. Or like, the 2 bar stats and our 2 physical stats. It's not like it's a saint ahead. I always miss this, but... bit this time. Man, why are they the bell gargoyles? Well, because they're the gargoyles who guard the bell. Go figure. Can you believe they make this fight worse in the sequel? I can, because they make a lot of things worse in the sequel. A lot of things better, too. I love that game like an abusive ex. Yeah, we did it. We beat the boss. That is all but one boss in this area completed, and that last one's kind of infamous. And I might want a full tank before I'm going into that shit. It's a nice bit of progress. We won't wrap it up until we're in a more restful spot. However, there you are. I just missed him completely.
Greetings. I am Oswald of Careem, the path. Thou art a friend. For thee, a warm welcome. Cometh thou to confess, or to accuse? For indeed all sin is my domain.
Well, what is it? He gets the best, gives you the best pose. Sells some garbage. Yeah, some stuff for online play. Purging Stone, which is useful. A Miracle. Never really seen it. Goddess Velka is an interesting being in the lore that people are still not really sure on her thing. Talisman, so that you can use magic. Skills and intelligence, but you still need base faith to use miracles, so it's a bit of a weird thing. And then some rings that help you with statuses. You can abandon covenants for no cost, and he can pardon your sins if you have sinned.
Anytime. It is only human to commit a sin.
Human. Yeah, so that guy's there now. Useful for, again, for online stuff. There's a the Blades of the Dark Moon Covenant needs him. But yeah, we're just gonna get ourselves nice rested. Probably throw some... Start throwing some weapons to upgrade. I might do a little bit more looking into what kind of weapon that I might want this run through. Just staring at them, because, you know, again, I would like the idea of a nice balance of styles. Yeah, let's go chill out with Andre. We can both level up a bit more. And so we can... Now that's a fast roll. Okay, fast rolling weight threshold's really hard in this game. You have to be very, very light. We've got more than a few Titanite shards. Excuse me? How is that here? What? I leave? When did I leave a shard? And we'll get S-Stock 2. Gargoyle Axe might be useful. What damage does it deal? Regular. Say we reinforce the club.
Don't get yourself. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Yeah. I will say, if I promise that if I do any farming, I'm not going to raise any weapon. I'm not going to do any off screen this time, for one, but for two. If I do any farming for souls, or if I do like a dupe exploit, the only reason I'm doing it will just be to save time. I'm not going to level up any weapon beyond what I would